Today, the Sooner Magic Bros talk about the 2023 recruiting class and all kinds of really cool football shit. Yeah, baby! And Peyton Bowen gives Sooner Nation a 5-star Flipmas present. Merry Flipmas to all, and to all a good night.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Sooner Magic Bros. This is your boy Derek.
Johnny Johns. So what's up, folks? We got exciting news, man. There's been a lot that's went on since last video, right?
I think Christmas came a little early for Sooner Nation.
Right, and your birthday was a little late.
And
right?
for my birthday, it was a little late. My birthday is December 21st, and I was really excited to see what happens on signing day. And I was still happy that we got a top 10 class. But I was a little let down by you know who.
You was for one day. You got
for one
late
day,
birthday.
But it was I could not believe it the very next day, all the news that I was hearing. I was like, dude, no way. This is the best late birthday present.
Right. So, you want to go over, everybody's talking about the Peyton Bowen thing.
Peyton Bowen is who I was just talking about.
So, he comes out.
Crazy flip.
Most of you already know what happened. Whoever doesn't know what happened, we're going to tell you what happened. He comes out. He's got an Oregon Ducks and Notre Dame hat. No Oklahoma hats. Apparently, the hat was on its way. It didn't get there on time. He was going to have an Oklahoma hat. And he signs the letter, I guess. And that's pretty much it. Damn. I'm thinking, I've seen this movie several times. I know how it ends. Every time we're thinking we're going to get one of these guys that are like the guy, and we're thinking they might flip our way, or it's supposed to be like a 50-50 thing. They may go here, they may go Alabama, or they may go here, and they may go Notre Dame. It seems like it never works out for us. I think of the Kamar Wheaton. I think of Hicks. I just think of all these guys, yes, I'm not going to be ungrateful and act like we didn't get a bunch of good guys. I was very happy with, Makari Vickers and Pete Adebore and Jackson Arnold and Petaway and all those guys. Green, Jacoby Johnson.
Koju Adebore.
Yeah. He's a program-changing player. Adebore. Peyton Bowen's also a program-changing guy. Jackson Arnold's. So to get 3 of those program-changing guys, dude, was huge. But it was wild. The next day I wake up, and we're still happy with like number 7, number 8 class, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about, dude, when it comes to the secondary, we got the Dolby kid, we got Jacoby Johnson, Makari Vickers, the 2 brothers. The
McCullough brothers.
McCullough brothers. One of them's a 4-star safety. And then one of them's like a pass rush guy, and the one that's the older brother from it, the one that played at Indiana or whatever. And so I'm like, man, we're not really hurting for secondary guys. Oh, Wagner, where's Wagner at? Wagner is another 4-star corner. So I'm like, dude, we've got secondary guys. Peyton Bowen would have just been an extra added, cherry on top, but no doubt a huge player. And anyway, so the next day rolls around. The day after Derek's birthday, and I'm on the phone with my dad, and he says, they're saying we got Peyton Bowen. I'm like, what? No, I seen it with my own eyes. He signed the paper.
Yeah, I was
He's going to Oregon.
That must be some kind of fake or old post or something like that. No, yesterday we all saw it.
He signed a paper.
He's at Oregon.
He's going to Oregon. So I'm thinking, Dad, that's fake news. Don't read that shit. And anyway, next thing you know, they say, well, he didn't send the paper in, and all of a sudden they're saying, no, legit, he might be going to OU, and I'm like, dude, not doing it. I am not even going to get myself excited for this. I am done with this. Like, I'm excited about Vickers and Johnson and Dolby and all them guys, and the McCullough brother. I'm glad we got some 4 blue chip secondary guys. I'm done with the Bowen guy. And I would have loved it if we did get him, but like, this is too much.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it says he signed at Oklahoma, and they say it's official. And I mean, hell, dude, I still don't know. I mean, I'm gonna believe it when he's like at the spring game.
Yeah. It was like the Avengers movie where Ronan, where they find him and tell him, hey, I think we can bring everybody back. And he says, no, don't give me hope.
Right.
No.
That's how I felt. Don't give me hope, dude.
No.
Come
Don't
on,
do
man.
it.
Don't do it to me again. Please do not give me any
It
hope.
was just like that.
But the Peyton Bowen saga, it's going to remind me, watching all that unfold in the last 24, 48 hours, it was like watching OU versus Texas in 2021. It was like watching OU versus Baylor in 2019. It was like, oh no, we suck again. And then, what? We're going to win this? You mean we don't suck? Like, it was just the roller coaster of emotions. The roller coaster of emotions that I was going through in the OU Texas game, 2021, Baylor 2019, OU Baylor game, was the same emotions that I went through with the Bowen guy.
Mm-hmm.
And after that happened, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to give myself any hope. I really don't want to do this to myself. But all of a sudden you start thinking, could we get DJ Hicks now? Like, you start thinking that, but we didn't get him.
No, we didn't.
Supposedly we haven't got him. Now, he might change his mind tomorrow. I don't know. When this video comes out, he may have already changed his mind.
A few hours ago, that's he was at Texas A&M. So.
Did he send the paper?
I don't know. I don't know that part.
Because, hey, if he ain't sent that paper in, dude,
maybe
Brent Venables and Bates might be on his ass.
Maybe he forgot the dot on the I of Hicks and
David
doesn't
Hick,
count.
yeah, that might not count. Right. So anyway, that's all that. 25 kids, 15 of them are defensive players, right? Something like that. Because we ended up with a pretty good quarterback. His name is Jackson Arnold. I know no one's, Peyton Bowen's getting all the attention here. Since Jackson, it's kind of shitty. It's kind of the same thing with Dylan Gabriel last year. Since he was committed, coming for sure, all the talk was with, Caleb Williams. What is he going to do? This, that, and the other. And then Jackson Dart. No, is Jackson Dart going to come here? Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel is the guy who's actually here. Mm-hmm. He's the one who's actually winning over the respect of the teammates. And anyway, I felt the same thing with Jackson Arnold. Like, all we're talking about is Hicks and Peyton Bowen and some of these guys that may or may not come here, which one of them is, thank God. But meanwhile, Adebawore and Jackson Arnold, these are two, like, I feel like it's almost, I don't know, like maybe it's easy to get ungrateful or kind of underappreciate, like, just how valuable those dudes not flipping was. Because imagine if you have something funky go on with Petaway, Adebawore, Jackson Arnold, or even the Caden Green, Makari Vickers. Imagine, what if you have Jacoby Johnson? What if something doesn't, something funky goes on with them and they decide they want to flip,
Right.
And all of a sudden you got real big problems then. And so the fact that he stayed true to Oklahoma this whole time, and like Brent Venables, I think had said in the press conference, like they've been very, he's been very open and close. Jackson Arnold's been very loyal to them, and even would let them know when other schools were like trying to offer money and shit, And the way that kid performed up there, dude, Jackson Arnold, he is the real deal, man. Like, this dude can make all the throws. He like, you can kind of pick apart, like, with Eli or Arch Manning, you can say, well, he played against nobody, like, for competition. And I've watched his highlights. I've watched the Malachi Nelson. I've watched Jackson Arnold. I've watched all the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's class, and they're all damn good. Josh Heupel's guy, Nico, he's really good. The kid that committed to UCLA, he's damn good. But for every one of them, like Malachi Nelson, you could say, man, he is really skinny. He looks like he needs to gain at least 20 pounds, 20, 25 pounds he needs to gain. You could say for Arch Manning, well, is he a 5-star top-ranked quarterback because his last name is Manning? Look at the competition that he played against. He wasn't playing against the competition that Jackson Arnold was playing against, and for that matter, Malachi Nelson, or the other one that committed, I believe, to UCLA, or may have been Miami. Miami got one of the guys that was also a top 5. He played against California competition. So basically, you can kind of pick apart a lot of these, at least find some weaknesses with a lot of these quarterbacks. With Jackson Arnold, it's very difficult to find a weakness. He looks like he's built for college day one right now, kind of like Caleb Williams was. Caleb, I believe, was 6'1", 205, maybe 210. Jackson Arnold, 6'1", 205. They're coming in right away, built solid like a college quarterback. He makes the right reads. The dude can make all the throws on the field.
And he can run.
And he's fast.
Yeah, he can
run. And he basically, I don't see any weaknesses in this game. In a system, and a lot of the concepts that they run are a lot of the same ones that we do.
Yeah.
I loved it that, I love that Jeff Levy had said, this is the future face of Oklahoma football. And I'm thinking, you damn right he is, dude. And one of my biggest fears I had after that OU Texas game when they had Davis Bevel out there instead of Nick Evers. Now Nick Evers is gone. And a lot of people don't blame him.
I don't blame him.
No.
I think he should have got way more playing time in that Texas game. Like after the game was done, I was like, dude, why not try him out there at least?
At least see what he's got, man.
So I don't blame him, but I definitely wish him luck where he's going. I'm sure he'll do good.
Once it was apparent that we wasn't going to score any points and this offense was not getting in the end zone at all, and we put it seemed like every damn player on the starting offense took snaps at quarterback. Except for Nick Evers, your highest recruited quarterback on the damn roster. He was he was a top 10 quarterback, dude. I want to say he was the number 8 or 9th best quarterback in the country, 4-star guy, 6'3". It didn't. That's my biggest thing with Levy is, what the hell with the Texas game, and why did Nick Evers not play until the last couple minutes? But that's in the rearview mirror, as they say, and he is gone. But so basically, what I'm getting at is with Jackson Arnold, my biggest fear is I feel like they need to immediately say, okay, Jackson is the backup quarterback. Jackson Arnold is the second stringer, and he is going to push for the starting job and probably end up just being the second stringer in the beginning. I hope they don't pull any bullshit with, well, we're going to redshirt him and, Davis is going to be the backup. No, fuck that, dude. Jackson Arnold needs to be the backup, just like when Caleb was the backup to Spencer. It was very obvious right then and there. No, this is the second best quarterback, maybe the best quarterback on the team. There's no sense in redshirting a guy with the talent he has. When you redshirt a guy, you're essentially saying you think he's going to be in college football for 5 years. I don't think Jackson Arnold's going to be in college football for 5 years anyway.
No, I don't think so either.
So it's to me, I think it's meaningless to redshirt him. However, nowadays, they got this new rule where you can technically play 5 fucking games and still redshirt. So, say if you're a backup quarterback, and so you can play 4 games in the regular season, but you can also play in the bowl games, and that doesn't count against you. So you can play 5 games if you make it to a bowl game. You can play 4 in the regular season, and then a 5th one in the bowl game. So as long as we don't need him in every game, if we need him to start 2 games, and then maybe mop up a couple other games, and then maybe play in a bowl game, he can still redshirt anyway. So basically, just make sure he don't play more than the 4 regular season and the 1 postseason game, and you can still redshirt him any damn way. Even though he probably won't need it, but still, it's good to have it. So anyway, Jackson Arnold, dude, we're mentioning a lot of these heavy hitters, and there's some heavy hitters in this class. Do you think maybe we should also talk about some of these guys that we think are diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, but I do want to say, like, out of the whole class, like, Jackson Arnold was the main one for me. I was like, we can't mess this up. Like,
Right. Absolutely.
He has to sign here, man. I know he's been very loyal, but you know how it is with all the flips and stuff. Really happy we were able to keep him here at OU.
Me too. And I think that, that was overlooked big time. Everybody was bitching after the Peyton Bowen guy. And I've seen what a lot of you people was saying on Twitter and YouTube and everywhere. The coaching staff sucks and they can't recruit and all this. And, I mean, hey, I ain't going to lie. I seen a lot of people December 21st. Peyton Bowen's overrated anyway. He sucks. He's probably going to be a bust. And then the next day, man, he's the greatest thing. He's the greatest thing in the world. Hey, I get it. But yeah, so we got some of the obvious guys. That was a boomer belch. We got some of the obvious guys like the Petaway and the Attaboy, Jackson, Arnold, Caden Green, McCarty Vickers, Jacoby Johnson, Omasigo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a linebacker, dude. Now, he's 7th best linebacker in the country, a top 100 player. And the Derek LeBlanc, everybody's talking about the DJ Hicks. And they forget he's a top 155 player. And he was also out of the state of Florida, so he's played some top-level high school football. But 6'4.5", about 270-ish pounds. David Hicks is, 6'3", 270 or something like that as well. So this is a dude we've been saying for a while, we need those big, badass athletes up front. The whatever you want to call them, the big freaks, the big uglies, the whatever nicknames you want to call it. But that's been lacking with Oklahoma, and it's been lacking with a lot of Lincoln Riley teams. It's lacking right now at USC. If you watch what happened with them against Utah, at the end of the day, when they got beat twice by Utah, they wasn't tough enough up front. Offensive and defensive line got bullied, and all day long pretty much. And as the game wore on, it got even worse. Both times. Yeah. But that's the team Brent Venables and this coaching staff inherited. Lincoln knows how to win 11 games with that team. He can do it. He knows how to drive that car, and you got to turn the heater on if you're at a stoplight, and you got to, if you go through a drive-through, you got to shut the car off and then restart it as you go. It pulls to the right, but he knew how to drive that car. But someone else was like he said. Brent Venables had said many times, like fit a square peg in a round hole or whatever.
Yeah.
So now they're starting to get some of their guys in. And these big dudes matter. And I really like it, the Caden Green. And that's not counting the transfer portal. We got this Notre Dame transfer who was a 4-star defensive lineman. Damn, it looks like we just got another one in.
Yeah, I thought I saw earlier
Reggie
that we got another
Texas
transfer.
Tech. Another safety. Wow.
Yeah.
How many safeties and DBs do we need in this class? Holy shit. So, Austin Stallner. That was a huge one happened, dude. To get him back. Jacoby Lacey from Notre Dame, and he was a 4-star defensive line. He's not the 6'4", 310-pound guy. He's 6'2", 285, but he's played college football under this coaching staff. I'd like to see what he's going to do, man. And then, but some of these guys that we haven't been talking about much is like that Marcus Strong. If you go to the OU recruiting class and you scroll all the way to the bottom on 247, you'll see Marcus Strong. He's literally ranked the lowest out of everybody. He's a top 135 D lineman. But here's the backstory that I've heard on him. He is out of the state of Florida, so he's played against good competition. I think, tore ACL his junior year, and he didn't get to play his entire junior year. And there's not a whole lot of guys in Florida, Texas, California high schools that are starting as a freshman. So if I had to guess, he didn't play a whole lot as a freshman, probably played some as a sophomore, but that junior year is what really helps you all these guys that went into this year ranked 4 stars and 5 stars, they had really good junior years, a lot of them, and he didn't get to have that. So a lot of people feel like if this dude would have played his junior year and tore it up like he did this year, he probably would have been a 4 or 5 star recruit as well. So they think that this guy is a diamond in the rough kind of guy with the Marcus Strong. And then the Eric McCarty guy, he's listed as an athlete. I feel like they have said he could play maybe tight end. And I know it's kind of wild because they have him listed at 6'2", 180 pounds. That's not near big enough to be a tight end at Oklahoma. But who knows? He could put on weight and be a fullback or something. I don't know. Or maybe they think he's going to play linebacker. Or no, I'm wrong on the Eric. I'm wrong on him. I'm thinking of the Cade McIntyre. Cade McIntyre is the athlete. He's 6'4", 210. He's the one that they think will probably play some tight end. But if you think of guys like Brody Elridge, Gabe Eichard, some of these guys that they were recruited here, we had another one. Lane Johnson was recruited, I believe, as an athlete that they kind of thought, try him at tight end. That don't work, move him inside. And, if you don't work at tight end, try him at tackle. If you don't work at tackle, try him at guard. And Gabe Eichard was, he was a center at OU. Pretty damn good one. Really good one. And he came here to be a tight end. And I guess it didn't work out, whatever. He got buried behind the depth chart or whatever. It finally got to a point where they said, hey, we want you to put on a little weight and be a guard or a center. That's what he did. It worked out for him. Lane Johnson, I believe, was the same type of deal. And then we had a guy named Brody Elridge. He was a guy who actually was a tight end, fullback type guy at OU. And you didn't have the transfer portal back in 2009.
Right.
You had to roll with what you got. You could get a transfer, but you'd have to sit out for a year. So JUCO level was like your only option to get immediate help, and sometimes there just wasn't much. When it comes to the big guys, there's just not a shitload of those running around. Your left tackles, your amazing, your guys like Gerald McCoy's, your Tommy Harris's, Ndamukong Suh. There's just not a lot of those guys just running around everywhere. Easy to snag. There's not. There's wide receivers, running backs, all those little skill guys. There's a shitload of them. Jackson State has good ones even. Tulsa has some good ones. OSU has good ones. And hell, in the SEC, that's the biggest difference also is the big dudes. SEC's offensive and defensive lines I think that's what separates the SEC from everybody else is their D-line and they get the best of the best that sign there on the line. And they get the best of the other guys as well. It's just there's more of those other guys than there is the big guys. But anyway, back then, we had some issues with offensive line. Sam Bradford came back, and so did Jermaine Gresham, but they both got hurt. And Sam, a big reason why he got hurt is that line was not very good, man, in 2009. They needed work, to be nice about it. And they got Sam Bradford hurt right off the bat. And it got to where that season we needed somebody who could fucking block. So they had put that Brody, it was Elridge, they put him in there like center or guard, man. So those guys, I could see that something like that happening with one of these two dudes here. And then, is that Taylor Wine, I guess is how you say his name?
I think
Ashton
so.
Sanders.
I think it's Wine.
Those are both 3-star defensive line that we also feel are some of those developmental guys, diamonds in the rough kind of guys. Because, Matt Rule, he has that mentality of, hey, recruit the athletes with the measurables and coach them up. And you'll figure out where they're going to play after you put the weight on them and coach them up. Mm-hmm. These guys are like that. The Ashton Sanders, he isn't like he's only 6'1", 270, but the Taylor Wine, he's got a big frame that they could add to, and who knows, man, he may end up being
6'5", 235.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine when he gets into our weight room. I mean, with Jerry Smith,
dude,
he could end up being a big 6'5", 275 pound guy that's just a fucking beast. And then I thought that guy's name was Phil Picciotti.
Mm-hmm. Or is it? I don't. I've heard Picotti too.
I know,
I think it's
I've heard-
Picciotti.
Right. Yeah,
We'll call him Phil. How about that?
Yeah, we'll call him Phil. You know who he is. 6'3", 220, 225, and he was a 4-star linebacker. I don't know if he's had injuries or what that's bumped him down. I thought he was a 4-star linebacker when we first got him, and maybe he is a composite 4-star, maybe. No, it says he's a 4-star. I don't know. He's right on that borderline of 4-star, 3-star. Because typically when you're a 4-star, you're like ranked 80. You got like a grade of like 89-ish, and he's like 88.3. But anyway, so overall, man, it's a damn good class. Caleb Hicks, he was also, I thought, a 4-star, which I heard we got duped over pretty bad on a lot of our recruiting rankings. I heard they lowered a lot of people's rankings. See, they're just barely off. Because if you're a 4-star, you're 89 ranking. I'm pretty sure that's what a 4-star is. And then I think 4-star goes all the way from like 89 all the way to like 98. And I want to say once you're a high 98, 99, you're a 5-star, I guess, kind of thing. They typically have about 35 5-stars in each class, usually. Around 30, 35-ish, I think. This year, I believe there's like 35 5-stars, and OU got 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's great, especially after having a 6-6 season. So anyway, man, we could talk about this recruiting class all day. We're happy with it. We love it. It's better than any. It ranks higher than any class that Lincoln Riley had, and I believe it ranks higher than any class that Bob Stoops ever had. There was the one in 05, which a lot of people think that the 04 one was good with Rhett Bomar and Adrian Peterson, but there was one. According to 247 Sports, now they don't have, some of the players aren't rated. It's a little weird. It's kind of a gray area when you go back that far. But to my knowledge, man, this is as good of a class as we've had, like in a long ass time. Number 6 was the best class. I think 2019, the class was Spencer Rattler, Stogner, Hazelwood, Theo East, Bridges. That class was ranked like number 6. But that was loaded with a lot of offensive talent.
Yeah.
This class has 25 guys, 15 of them are defensive recruits.
Right.
And that Kendall Dobie, dude, he's going to be a guy who helps us right away. He's now a 4-star JUCO guy, which I'm glad he finally got the ranking that he deserves. He's ranked as the number 2 best corner in the country as far as JUCO. And he's ranked as top 10 JUCO player, period. So that was a huge get. I really do believe he's a guy. He's not one of them 6'2" corners, but 5'11", 190 pounds. That's about your typical normal corner size, really. You know. So yeah, I'm happy with it, man. They've got some guys that I think could help us right away. I mean, I ain't saying all 25 of them are going to help us right away, but out of the 25. There's a handful of them that's going to help us right away. That we're going to need some of these guys. And Dolby, I believe, is one of them. PJ Adebawore could be one of them. Jackson Arnold. It kind of feels like it's with Dylan Gabriel, it feels like he's the kind of guy that, based on how he's been, he may get banged up 1 or 2 games, and we need a good quarterback who can complete some passes, and I think we finally got one.
We got one.
We definitely got one. So anyway, some other things that happened since our last video is Mike Leach passed away. And I want to give, I have nothing but respect for Mike Leach. He was only at Oklahoma for 1 year, but many, many college football fans respect Mike Leach. Not just, he's known for like his post-game interviews, all his interviews. You could watch them for hours and hours, dude. He's amazing. Just a funny guy, man. Really, you could talk to him about anything. You could talk to him about your wife. You could talk to him about Ninja Turtles. You could talk to him about the Titanic, aliens. Pirates. Like this. You talk to him about
pirates.
anything. Yeah, he's all about pirates.
Yeah.
But anyway, God rest his soul. In my opinion, Mike Leach is the guy who started the quarterback factory at Oklahoma. And the reason why I say that, I know he was only here 1 year, and I know Lincoln Riley, he won a couple Heisman trophies with some quarterbacks up here, and he damn near won 3. If he stays here one more, he damn near won 4.
Yeah.
But he still won 1 at the other place. But when it comes to, no doubt, Lincoln Riley and Kevin Wilson and Mark Mangino and Chuck Long, them guys helped continue the quarterback factory. But the guy who started the quarterback factory at Oklahoma, no doubt, was Mike Leach. And he had the 99 recruiting class. We got Josh Heupel, Nate Hibble, and Jason White all in the same year, 1999. We got all 3 of those guys. Josh Heupel and Jason White were both recruited. One of them is a JUCO guy. One of them is an incoming freshman in that same 99 class. And then Nate Hibble came that same year as a transfer. He had to sit out 1 year. That was back before you could just play right away.
Yeah.
But those were all 3 guys that Mike Leach brought in, and those 3 guys were a huge part of starting the whole QB factory. Josh Heupel should have probably won the Heisman that year. Jason White did win a Heisman, so right off the bat, 2 Heisman runner-up and a Heisman winner he brings in right away at a school that never hardly threw the ball before he had gotten here. And so I give all the credit to him and the games against Texas Tech, dude, that we had, especially like that 2008 game. But there was several games, man. But Mike Leach, I think of him as that guy that he changed college football in a good way. And there's
and the NFL too, for that matter.
I mean, and also you ought to look at how many coaches currently right now. They either coached under Mike Leach or they was a player under Mike Leach. Like,
he's got a massive tree.
He's got a massive tree. And Lincoln Riley and Cliff Kingsbury, Dana Holgerson, Mark Mangino, I mean, there's a bunch of dudes. Like, his tree is amazing. And I'm sure Lincoln Riley's little brother, Garrett Riley, may have. I mean, he kind of comes from that tree in some type of way as well. But anyway, nothing but our respects, man, to Mike Leach. We want to give our condolences to him, man. Just saddening news, really. I hated to hear it, man. And I was hoping he was going to pull out of it, and then the news got worse and worse. But God rest Mike Leach's soul. He's going to be missed big time. We have always rooted for him. I've always rooted for Mike Leach when he was at Washington State. Texas Tech, I rooted for him on every game except one.
Yeah.
and then when he was at Mississippi State, I remember the Ole Miss versus Mississippi State game was one of the last regular season games I watched, man. And they won that game, and it was a damn good one to watch. So I'm glad Mike went out as a winner. And yeah, it just sucks, man. But
yeah, I always made sure to check out his press conferences after any game because it's always a treat listening to him, man. I also love his cussing. One of my, all right, I'm going to cuss here for a second. One of my favorite quotes, I just saw it the other day on Twitter. It was a small clip from after a game in the locker room. And I believe it was after a win, and he was, cussing out the team. I want to say it may have been Baylor, but I could be wrong that they beat. But anyways, he goes, "Fuck that! Fuck that! It's bullshit, and I want that shit changed." That's my favorite quote, and that's how I feel about his passing. Yeah. I'm like, man, I want that bullshit changed.
Yeah.
But we're going to miss him.
Definitely going to be missed. Man, I'm trying to check out the, I don't know if anyone's feeling cheesy, but we also got a bowl game that's going on here in a few days. And what is today, 23rd? So we got 6 more days. We got a bowl game going on. I'm not gonna lie, man. Man, for going 6-6, I mean, I feel like a cool bowl game in Orlando, Florida, against a big program like Florida State. It's a rematch of the 2000 championship game. It's played in Florida. It's kind of like the other one was played in Miami, Florida. at the Orange Bowl. I'm excited for it, dude. Honestly, for a 6-6 season, I feel like this was as good of a reward as we could get for a fucking 6-6 season. And it's going to be Florida State's 9-3, so it's not just like we're playing another 6-6 Florida State. Like,
right.
They were pretty damn good. Florida State was. And quite a few of their players, there's not a shit ton of opt-outs on their end. They're going to have quite a few of their good players. We're going to have, Dylan Gabriel. I think Mims is going to play. Eric Gray will not, and I get it, man. Go get your money, bro. And it'll open up things for Sawchuk and Barnes. They got that rule now. We were just talking about it where true freshmen can play. It will not count against the red shirt. I have not looked at OU's roster and I haven't investigated it and seen how many players played the 4 games and this is going to benefit them. I don't know. There may be quite a few guys that played exactly 4 games and was going to have to set out for this game or bust a red shirt. So that's going to help us tremendously, man. There may be a few guys on the roster that are going to get to play because of that new rule. So I hope Sawchuk. I hope we get to see a little bit of him along with Barnes. Of course, Barnes will, more than likely Barnes or Major is going to be the starter. But I hope we see a lot of Barnes and Sawchuk and Major. And I'm excited for it, man. I'd love to go to this one, but it's a little bit of a drive for us.
Yeah, it's kind of a little too far. Even though I bet the weather's going to feel a lot better out there than it does right now in Oklahoma.
No shit. That weather was, it was a little chilly, to say the least, in Oklahoma.
Yeah, what was it, like 3 degrees last night?
Yeah, freaking negative 20-something degree wind chill.
Yeah. I think there were places where it was like negative 45 on the wind chill.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
We had one January of 2021, or February of 2021. There was one that was really bad. It was negative 29 degree wind chill, and there was a negative 15 degree regular temp. This one did not have a regular temp of negative 15 and negative 29, but it did, the winds was going so much it was negative 23 on some of it for wind chill.
It was so windy and cold that I remember it felt like my eyeball was going to freeze instantly just from the wind. I had to shield my whole face.
Oh yeah, it's freaking brutal.
This will be a nice vacation and game for anyone going to it.
Right. It's going to be a cool one. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a 4:30 game. I'm thinking that's 4:30 our time. Might be Eastern time. But anyway, if it is a 4:30 game, it's going to be a nighttime game at halftime probably. If it gets dark after 6 o'clock. Halftime it'll probably be dark. So it's going to be a cool, fun game, man. I can't wait to watch it. Honestly, on one hand, I understand how some people opt out of these games, but on another hand, I don't know how in the hell you would not want to play in this game. If you're going to play in a game against Texas Tech on the last game of the season, that is literally for, it's 4-0. You're not going to a Big 12 title. It's not going to help you win a national title. Why in the hell would you not play in an Orlando Bowl game against Florida State in Oklahoma? For me, there'd be no way in hell. I would have to have, a fucking broken leg that's barely hanging by a thread of skin to not play in this game. But I get it. It's not my decision. It's theirs. And I'm sure if it's come down to them, say if you're an Eric Gray, I'm sure he does want to play in this game. You got other people in your ear telling you what you should and shouldn't do, and I think they're just listening to a lot of those people. But when it comes down to it, man, I'm kind of psyched about it. I hope we fucking show up and play good, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready. I'm ready for the game, man. Ready for that one more game.
Right.
We still got one more here.
Yeah, what's kind of wild, man, is it's about to get to that time of the year where the season is over. It's basically over. We got this bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
But, we play the bowl game. Usually it's at the very end of December or beginning of January. And then it's only a few months later. Then you got spring practices that start.
Yeah.
And then you have the spring game in April. And then it's just a few months later, fall practices start, and it's football season. So if you're one of them guys that keeps up with recruiting, and now with this transfer portal being the way it is, I think there was like 2,000 fucking players in it.
Wow.
And after spring, there'll be a few more guys that are in it, that are guys moving here and there. And I'm sure OU will grab a few probably, wherever the coaching staff feels we need help. So there's going to always be, it's almost like it's, there's football shit to keep up with all year long, really.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt it's a lot more happening in the recruiting season and then in the spring, and then you got that few months of a break or whatever. But other than that little bit of a break between spring football and fall, there's pretty much cool shit going on all the rest of the year. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm ready for the spring game and the bowl game. And
I'm probably more excited for the spring game than the bowl game, but I'm still ready for this bowl game, man.
I'm excited for the bowl game right now, and then when the bowl game's over, I'm going to be excited for the spring game.
Yeah.
Because I want to see those recruits that we got, man.
Right.
I want to see what these guys look like.
I know.
And
it's like getting a whole bunch of Christmas presents,
right.
and a bunch of new toys and stuff, but you haven't got to open them yet.
Right. And also, the thing you got to learn with the Peyton Bowen deal is, hey, sometimes, you can only believe half of don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. And the reason why they say you can only believe half of what you hear, or you can only believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see, because sometimes even what you see isn't real. For example, the Peyton Bowen thing. We seen him sign that paper to go into Oregon. Just like right now, you see that we're sitting here and there's a big, cool football here. But really, it's football. It's a little mini football. So you can't even believe everything you see, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put this helmet on.
Here, yeah, let me put it on you.
Yeah. Oh, fits perfect. So if you've been watching the whole video, you now know this is not a real football helmet. Yeah, look at that shit. It's pretty funny because it's like about to put this football helmet on.
Your hands are huge.
Oh, yeah, football helmet's going on pretty good. Yeah, that's funny
Little
shit.
forced perspective.
Yeah. So if you stayed all the way to the end of this video, you now know that football helmet is not a big, normal-sized football helmet.
We're working
It'd be real
on
funny if it was one of the ones that come out of a
those
bubblegum
little
machine.
tiny ones.
Yeah, it'd be funny if it was even that little.
Yeah, we're working on getting a real real size one, but for now,
This one's
here
only
we go.
about that size.
Yeah, it's one of those little, what do they call them, mini speed
Yeah,
helmets.
mini, yeah. Still cool though. It's great for videos. But anyway, man, I guess if you ain't got nothing else,
Man, just Boomer Sooner. This class, man. I know that during the season we go 6-6, and everyone is like, dude, we have to keep this class together. But not only we kept it mostly together, and still reeled in a top 5 class.
fuck yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Couldn't ask for anything better, I don't think.
When me and our other brother, Little Rocky, when me and him were driving back from Dallas after that Cotton Bowl, and it was a long drive home, even though it was the longest 3.5 hour drive home ever. Okay, we drove a lot of long drives.
Yeah.
But the main thing we kept talking about is, what in the fuck did we just watch? Number one. And number two, how in the hell, dude, we're going to lose all these recruits.
Yeah.
And we did lose the kid that was defensive end kid, man.
Where we flipped him from Texas and then he went back.
Yeah, it was.
Damn, I already forgot his name.
Right. I tried to forget his name, and I guess I did a good job of it. But yeah, y'all know who we're talking about if you keep up with recruiting. He was a defensive end, and he I want to say he was a high 4-star defensive end. And,
Evans. Oh, dang it. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. But luckily, we were able to reel in some other guys that it was another spot that we got to give someone else a chance. But
also don't forget about the transfer portal. We still got a chance to make this class bigger. There could be some kids that go they go to where they think they want to be at, and they realize it's not where they should be at, and we can take them from the portal.
Well, yeah, and also some of these guys, damn, Texas ended up with the number 3 class. The guy that we were talking, Colton Vasek was the guy we were talking about.
There we go.
Yeah, Colton Vasek. He's an edge rush, and apparently he's like 6'6", 220. I mean, he does have the size, man. He was a highly recruited guy, but he wasn't like PJ Adebawore, where he's a fucking top 5-star edge rusher. Like this dude's the 17th best defensive end or edge rush in the country. No doubt we would have loved to have had him, but I mean, we signed a few other guys that I think are going to do well anyway. It's going to be all right. But I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see what this team does, man, and I'm ready to see what next year has in store. And also, the biggest thing we had talked about last season is there were several times I'm like, dude, how in the hell does the Brent Venables defense we were getting lit up with. At first it was Mike Stoops, and then it was fucking Ruffin McNeil. Yeah, Ruffin McNeil, and then it was Alex Grinch, which I think he's just not a great defensive coordinator, and he doesn't recruit this. He tries to recruit the speed D, and he tries to do a lot of this stunt and all this crazy fucking shit pre-snaps and to confuse the offense, and oftentimes he confuses their own selves.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing a great job confusing the linemen. You're just not confusing theirs. You're confusing your own. What it seemed like. I
did have a comment I wanted to say about Alex Grinch, and it has to do with Mike Leach. Like, he decided to do things differently, right? And I really wonder, like, if Alex Grinch could reel in a bunch of, great defensive talent. I mean, would it be different enough to actually work good?
It might.
I don't know.
It might could. I mean, well, here's something to think about.
He's doing something different.
Brent Venables' defense we just seen, it don't work as good if you ain't got talented players that makes it work. Or if like a lot of things I seen last year, no doubt it seemed like anytime it was 4th and 1, the offense was gonna get it. Their line was gonna be tougher than our defensive line. It seemed like every damn time it was a given. And then the secondary, I felt like got better as the year went along. I felt like our secondary did pretty well. It seemed like there was mostly issues on the front set. We couldn't stop the run hardly at all. And them RPOs, we get fooled by it every fucking time. Like, I haven't really watched much of Florida State. I'll probably start doing it this week. But if they got a good RPO game, I hope they don't, but if they do, we get our lunch ate on that fucking play every time. We're fooled on it. And they'll put in, and it don't even matter, like, West Virginia threw out a dude that was like a wide receiver, and that kind of goes back to that OU Texas thing. When you had Willis and Eric Gray in there doing that fucking Wildcat, I'm sure it looked great in practice. I'm sure it looked really, really good if they were going up against our defense. I'm sure they looked like fucking world beaters. So I guess that's why it seemed like it was going to work really well.
Well, they were getting yards in that game. They were getting down the field in the beginning, just couldn't, punch it in.
Couldn't punch it in. When it really mattered, they couldn't get a first. When it really mattered, they couldn't get a fucking touchdown. And when it really mattered, we over and over and over and over and over again, they stopped us when they needed to, and it resulted in 0 points. But
I think the Texas game was kind of it was like a snowball running down a hill. It really wasn't as bad as it looks if you just stop at halftime. Like, it still felt like we had a chance if we could just punch it in.
Right.
But then once it went to like 35-0, that's when it just started snowballing out of control completely. But,
right. But yeah, I'm excited, man. The Peyton Bowen thing, man, all of a sudden just it makes you feel good this holiday season.
Dude, it's got to be one of the craziest recruiting stories I think of. Well, it's got to be the most clutch recruiting I've ever seen in my life, dude. It was like the final, like, it was already, the clock already hit 0.
Right.
It seemed like it, anyways.
It was like the untimed down.
Yeah, it was an untimed down,
It
dude.
was an untimed down play, like
Yeah.
OSU had a while back.
Man, hey, I got a little fun hypothetical that I came up with the other day. Okay. Where do you think Tom Brady would be if NIL and the transfer portal was around
we were
back
talking
then?
about
It,
yeah, so
would he have even ever played or started, or what?
so
what do you think?
So basically, I was telling him the other day that back in the day, you know, before there was the transfer portal where you get that one free pass, you can transfer and you can play right away. And then there was also, before they did that, they finally started making it where if you was a graduate guy, you could transfer and play, like, so only like your redshirt senior year you could play kind of thing. Or maybe if you was like a redshirt junior and you graduated early. But anyway, back in the day, in '99, when Mike Leach came here, what you had to do when you needed a quick fix, you had to get a JUCO guy. And anyway, so, but nowadays you don't. You just go get like Hudson Card, or you go get, you know, freaking someone, a good starter where there's two quarterbacks on the roster, you transfer. Or if you have enough money, you just steal Oklahoma's quarterback. So anyway, Oklahoma's Heisman winning quarterback. You just steal him to come play at your school. But anyway, so back in the day, Tom Brady was at Michigan, and he was kind of getting duked around. And God, man, I told you that day who the fuck it was, man. It was a highly recruited guy. He had played baseball, and he was also what was it? Drew Henson, maybe was his name. Anyway, he was a highly recruited guy, rocket arm, and Tom Brady would get duped around a lot, man, where they were just constantly wanting this Drew Henson guy to play. And, like, they were afraid that he was either going to go pro or whatever. And anyway, had it been 1999, I have to wonder, hypothetically, you know, would Mike Leach had said, you know, if we had the rules now, if we had the rules in '99 that we have now, where you could just, a kid would transfer because he feels like he's getting duped over by the coaching staff, you know, would Mike Leach have hit up Tom Brady? Hey, man, I know you were the starting quarterback at Michigan, and, you know, they're kind of screwing you over trying to play this this Drew Henson kid. Come be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma. Makes you wonder how things would have been. You know what I mean? He would have thrown for a ton of yards. Now, Josh Heupel would have, you know, went somewhere else, I guess, because he was a Snow Junior College guy, Severdeen, South Dakota, and he had got him from a little school. But apparently, Josh Heupel had thrown for like a ton of yards at that little school, and apparently, even Josh Heupel was kind of not even playing the full game a lot or some shit. Forget what the story was on it, but yeah. So yeah, it was a funny hypothetical, you know. Tom Brady, hell, we would have probably snagged him from Michigan and had him come over here to Oklahoma.
Well, not just the transfer portal, but I'm also talking about NIL. Like, would Tom Brady have even started over there at Michigan? Or even been recruited, I mean.
Well,
I wonder, like, where he would have ended up with NIL.
Well, with the NIL, I mean, he would have been probably, I don't know. I mean,
I know, it's like hard to tell.
Well, I mean, no, he would have still,
he
would have still played, but like, yeah, he would still start. Like, they would either pay him money or not. You know what I mean? But with the NIL, I think another school that needed a quarterback really bad would have probably told him, "Hey, dude, you can come do car commercials here at Oklahoma. Right, you can sign money. You know, we're going to give you money through a Raising Cane's deal and a, you know, car dealership commercials, and come be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma, and they can have Drew Henson." You know what I mean? Like, because it was in the late '90s, I believe, when that shit was happening with Tom Brady. I want to say Tom Brady was drafted in either '99 or 2000. So Mike Leach came here in '99. So yeah, it was just something that I was kind of thinking about the other day, about how much different things are with the NIL and the transfer portal. Most importantly, the transfer portal, the way you can immediately play right away, which that's only been going on for a few years. because when Justin Fields left Ohio State, or he left Georgia and went to Ohio State, I'm pretty certain he had to like go get some type of like, they didn't know he was going to be eligible immediately. They thought he was going to have to sit out, and it was kind of like a, you know, on the 11th hour they said yes, he's eligible. There was some shit that had went down. If you had a legit reason for why you left, you could, I guess, get it approved by the NCAA and you could be eligible right away and play right away. So whenever that was, when Justin Fields left Georgia, went to Ohio State, which was only a few years ago. I mean, that was probably, 3 years ago, 2 years ago when it happened, I guess.
Man, it doesn't.
I want to say it was around the Kyler Murray era. I mean, it was maybe Jalen Hurts. But anyway, it wasn't very long ago. It was a few years ago. So this has just happened within the last, I mean, hell, Kyler Murray transferred here in like 2016. He had to set out the 2016 season. So that wasn't very long ago for damn sure.
Yeah.
That was 2016. So
2017, 2018.
2016 he had to set out for sure. And 2017 he was able to play, but he was the backup. He thought Baker got another year because of the. So yeah, this has just started. It's a combination of the NIL and the transfer portal, being not just the transfer portal, but the way it's a portal and you can fucking play immediately. And they say you only get one transfer, but you know, if you play a year or two at this school and then you transfer your third year at this school and then you graduate, you can now transfer again. So unless you're like a true freshman that, like for example, Caleb Williams, he is stuck at USC this season. If Lincoln took a head coaching job, he is stuck at USC.
Yeah.
His only option is to go to a small school and transfer out of there, or stay there with a different coach. And then which he's going pro after this season anyway. So even if Lincoln like took an NFL job and said, "Sorry, Caleb, thanks for coming here with me, but I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Like even if that was to happen, you know, his best move would be just stay at USC. He's so fucking good. He's going to make it. The team's going to win 11 games if they got him. You're going to compete for a conference title at the very minimum, no matter what. You could put him on Colorado's team, Washington State. He's gonna win some games for you.
Yeah.
Hell, if he would have been on OU's team this year, I think we would have won 10, 11 games with him, even with the exact team we ended up having.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is why that 6-6 season is why that happened, man. It damn near happened in 2021. We just barely won a bunch of those games that year. Having guys like Perion Winfrey and Isaiah Thomas and Caleb Williams, those guys were just enough to help us barely win. So this was a downward trend that had been going, but I love the direction it's going now.
Yeah.
So. Well, anyway, guys, that is definitely it, man. We've probably been on here fucking hour.
All right, okay, good. I figured we could get an hour long. Well, I guess Merry Christmas, everybody, and Boomer Sooner anyway.
Boomer Sooner anyway, guys, and I usually always say, you know, hey, Boomer Sooner anyway, fuck them. But yeah, we may come back on after the ball game. I'm sure there's going to be some more recruiting news. That was just the early signing day. There's still a regular signing day that happens in February, I believe. And then right after your regular signing day in February, you know, it's just a couple months later, and maybe end of March, beginning of April, you have the spring practices. So it never really completely stops. Just little breaks here and there, but yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm excited again.
Yeah, excited again, man. Definitely.
They give me hope again.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's hope. Hopium, I think, is what they call it.
Right. Anyway, Boomer Sooner. Fuck them anyway. Oh, shit.